All right, all right, all right. Jackie Boy is here today. Welcome back to the Colin Thompson Show. I'm Colin Thompson. That's Jack Connell, partner in crime, co-host, producer, friend, absolutely killing it. Thank you to all of our team here at Not For Long Media, killing you through this whole busy season here. We took a little down step back, I should say, because of some personal things I was going through in December, and then we have absolutely hit the gas here and have just taken off. Thanks to everyone who has listened, following, shared, commented, liked, all that stuff, rating us on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. It's been awesome for our whole Not For Long Media family. Really, it's been an absolute blast. This is the busy season for us, and it has come to an end, I guess you could say, with the Super Bowl that happened on Sunday. If you're listening now, breaking news: yes, the Eagles did lose. The Chiefs did win, and it was an amazing game. It really was a great game. I'm down here in Key West, Florida, for those that are kind of just tuning in for the first time. And I spend 2 to 3 weeks down here every year, and it was an incredible environment down here for the game. Chiefs fans, Eagles fans, chants, fun. People had food. I mean, I did a Sambone review with cheesesteaks and cheese whiz dripping down my arm, and people are flying down Amoroso rolls and checking bags full of checking bags of Amoroso rolls in the suitcases on their way down here instead of packing more clothes. So pretty cool stuff here. A great community down here. We watched the game at Shots and Giggles and had a great time. Jack, what'd you do for the game, buddy?
Just sat right here. We got some Strombolis. I think it was called New Village out in Warminster. Strombolis were delicious. Got a buffalo chicken one, a couple other ones, but that was my buffalo chicken one was the one that I had, but kept it low key.
Why didn't you Sambone it?
Because I didn't think of it. You're with your family. It's Super Bowl. It's like 6 o'clock is Super Bowl. Like it was not.
I was with my family. I stepped outside the bar, went across the street, put my phone on someone's bike seat, walked up to a fence, and did it. Took me a minute. I don't know how many views did he get.
Colin, we're comparing like Tom Brady and I don't even know the undrafted free agent who is already cut of Sam Boners here.
Well, that was me, Jack. I was the undrafted free agent, and cut. So there's no excuse not to Sambone, especially a new chicken cheesesteak from a great place that you love.
It was a Stromboli. It wasn't a cheesesteak. It was a Stromboli.
Excuse me, Stromboli. It has nothing to do with it. I'm just saying.
It's not Pizza Month.
It's not. Stromboli's not pizza, by the way.
Yes, it is. It's an inside-out pizza.
All right, Jack. That's going to wrap up our show today. We're going to have to handle this with Mick because Samboning is for everybody, folks. Jack, for whatever reason, doesn't like growing his brand and his fun, and he just wants to be, this clipped guy instead of just a natural in his element, Jack in the back and, out in front of his house in Montgomery County having a good time. But I digress. We'll get to the good stuff. Guys, one of our new sponsors here on the show, they're working with OGs, Harry Mays and Jason Rachitas. Check them out. Guys, at Shots and Giggles, I spent plenty of time there over the last couple days, weeks. An awesome place in Key West, Florida. No ad read here from me. This is just straight from the heart. It's Uncle and Aunt's Bar down there. It is the locals hangout right off Duval Street, literally right behind Sloppy Joe's on Ann Street, right next to Tattoos and Scars, which is our bar of the week this week as well. So you can't beat it, though. You really can't beat it. I mean, the spread they put out for the Super Bowl, you go in, you have a 2-drink minimum, and it's all you can eat. I mean, it's incredible, the vibe, the cheesesteaks, the fun. Every Super Bowl Sunday, every Sunday throughout the NFL season, they are putting food out. You can't beat it. It's an incredible environment. The bartenders are friendly and nice and fun. Cold drinks, great drinks. The walk-up window, ring the bell, they'll bring you a drink. You can get your drink to go. It's just, there's nothing like it, honestly. It's home away from home. Last night we had a group of people in there after dinner. And it was a quiet night, and we filled it up with 15 people, and it was like being in our living room. There's just such a cool vibe in there. So we watched the Texas Tech came, had a great time. Shots and Giggles Key West, check them out. Also on social media as well. And just your place to go to get away from the craziness on the ball. Just relax, have a good time. Find yourself some clean bathrooms and have some fun. So Shots and Giggles Key West, check them out. All right, Jack. I mean, there's lots to discuss, but you know me, like I don't like the show where it's like, what are your thoughts on the game? Like you guys have already heard that, but you haven't heard Jack's thoughts on the game, Jack's nuggets on the game. and you don't want to hear them from me. So, Jack, your overall thoughts on the game and some things that stuck out to you, even if you related back to the show, like some players you thought were going to play well, some players you thought were going to play well that didn't play well, or whatever that may be.
All I want to say is I should be in the coaching carousel mix for how dead on I was for my predictions for the players to watch. If you remember, Colin, the two players that I said were going to do the best this Super Bowl were, I don't want to say the best, but the matchups to watch that I had an eye on were Nick Bolton and Travis Kelce. And probably the two most important players for the Chiefs outside of obviously Patrick Mahomes were Nick Bolton and Travis Kelce. So, I mean, there's a good case if whatever that controversial Miles Sanders incomplete pass fumble, if Bolton, like if that was a call to play, Nick Bolton was the Super Bowl MVP. I mean, obviously there's a lot. He's a defensive captain. He's a beast. I was very wrong about him coming out of college, but he played tremendous. I mean, I think the biggest hang up for me, obviously, everybody talks about the holding. My personal opinion was I think that the Chiefs were going to win anyways. Because either they send it to either Eagles kick a field goal, they send it to overtime, or they give Mahomes the ball with time on the clock. And it's just, that was such an offensive heavy game. It was whoever had the ball last was going to win. So I felt very heavy. So, I mean, even looking back at the holding, I was very egregious at it. I thought it was a terrible call in the moment. Looking back, and there were some all 22 angles that were kind of released that showed some different things that the broadcast did not show. It did look more like a hold. And so obviously that's that. But I think the biggest issue for me was the grass. I think the grass field, so the interesting thing, I don't know what they did with it, because the grass they used that was on the broadcast was Tahoma 31. And some Eagles broadcasters and some other people tweet out that is the grass that the Eagles used at Lincoln Financial Field. The link, I'm sure, as you played on, I think you played on, I forget whether that game was home or away when you played against Philadelphia. That it's one of the best grass fields in football, like not even the NFL, football in general. And there was no issues anywhere. So I don't know if it was an oversaturation issue with water. It didn't take root. If they put like green paint on it to make the grass look greener and that caused an issue. I don't know what the case was with that, but that was a major issue. So, I mean, I expect that some of the Eagles players went like, oh, it's the same grass. They went in some of the same style type of cleats that they wore at home. And it just caused a offensive shootout because just everybody was slipping and sliding. No defense could get a rush up because they kept sliding anytime they tried to get upfield quickly. They couldn't play press coverage because the cornerbacks would slip and they would lose a step, and it would be a wide open Juju Smith-Schuster, Travis Kelce, etc. So it was just the defenses were forced to play soft zone coverages essentially, and it just led to a shootout. So, I mean, everybody wants to blame Jonathan Gannon, whoever. My thing is, I don't know what he could have done. I mean, besides go out there and change the entire field. I mean, it was an impossible situation for a defense to be in my opinion.
Well, first off, there's a lot to unpack there. I did play at Temple in college. We played on that field, so that's a fine on you. Played on that field every week. Second off,
well, I mean, no, Colin. Here's the thing,
stop.
They changed the grass to Bermuda grass in 2017. So it's I don't know,
grass field, but I played on them all.
It's a Bermuda different type of grass. That is
Jack,
why
I played on it in Florida, bud. I played football for the last 15 years. I think I played on every type of grass there is to be had. Well, Bermuda grass. I don't know if you've handled that.
It's Tahoma 31 Bermuda grass. It's a specific subbreed of Bermuda grass. Continue.
All right, Jack, that's going to do it for the show today. Have a good day, everybody. This guy's telling me I'm playing on the different types of grasses. You got to love it, Jack. You are something else, buddy. Okay, so lots to unpack there. One, I played at Temple, so played in that stadium all the time. Two, that Eagles field at the end of the year, that is spray painted, buddy. Green. Bright green. Not even in the it's done in the beginning of the year. So when you play at the link, your jersey, you're covered in green from grass stains, but it's not grass stains. It's covered. Your cleats are nasty, like from the spray paint to make that field look green. That's not natural green. And then second off, there's a lot to unpack there. We're talking about where we're playing the DC and all this stuff, but no one slipped when they were bringing people in short motion and ripping them back out. And they were wide open. That was a man coverage communication situation there. That to me, there was no slipping and falling. And those two guys were wide open. That motion, they were thinking the guy's going to cross the whole formation. They communicated out of it, tapping on the head. I got the motion guy. You got the guy here. That's just a really nice chess piece play by Eric Bieniemy and Andy Reid, in my opinion. Yes, there was some man coverage slips and all that. Yes, I was watching Son Reddick a lot. and Hassan was slipping up the field and all, and the linemen were laying on him because he can't. He's trying to bend the edge, and when you're bending the edge and your foot slips out, you're on your back. You're done.
Now, question about that play though. Because I watched it, it was obviously you said Avonte Maddox was kind of following him. My thought on it was, I'm sure you could kind of elaborate this and say how I'm wrong in 15 different ways. I thought Avonte Maddox was trying to get an extra step on him because of the grass. So he jumped on it, and it was a wrong decision. Sky Moore to cut back. So
no,
that was
that's a
my
whole
thought
communication
process.
thing. They're not sitting on the sideline saying, because of the craft turf situation today, we're going to switch it differently. No, you work through that all week and for the whole year. They've been working through it. Is it a top hat situation where you got this guy, you have that guy? Are they going to box it where if somebody goes in, the safety's got him, somebody goes out, the corner has him, somebody goes deep, the other corner, nickel has him. So that's a communication thing. It's not a change because of the grass. It's why I think people take it something and just hammer it home. It's like, boom, everything has to do with the one thing. Like I don't see that being the case. They were communicating out of it because when someone short motions inside, the way Chiefs have been running their offense all year, right? They said, okay, this is the best way to handle these guys when they start out wide and motion in. We're going to switch it on the run because they've been going across the formation or they've been lining up in the slot. Well, this time he went in and went out, right, and was wide open. So to me, I think there's a communication situation there. Not a communication situation because of the grass. I don't know the answer to that. You can ask the coach, but I think that's what happened. Also, too, I talked to you about this before on the phone. There was a lot of guys I saw not wearing screw-ins. And the difference between a molded cleat and a screw-in on a really slippery surface, short grass surface is like night and day. So if you have a good pair of screw-ins in, you can romp around and run around and cut and jump and do a lot of different things. You can really chew up grass and run, especially on a slippery surface where other guys maybe wearing molded cleats, the better looking cleat, the more swaggy cleat, all this different stuff where if you're wearing screw-ins, you're able to plant the edge a little bit. So I know I saw some guys wearing them. I saw some guys not. Hey, it's whatever you're comfortable with. But if you could stay on your feet in any cleat, you can wear sneakers out there for whatever. You know, I've seen guys playing sneaks on turf. So, yeah, a lot to unpack with the game. I mean, unreal performance by Mahomes and the Chiefs, and I thought the Eagles played really good too. I mean, that's why it's a three-point football game. Great clock management by the end there by Andy Reid and McKinnon and those guys. It's an all-time Super Bowl. It really was. It was a great game, and I think those teams are going to be around for a really long time, both of them. I don't think that's a hot take by any means. I think it's interesting things that the Chiefs did by moving on from Tyreek Hill and saving cap space and getting all those young draft picks and all those young DBs and all those young linebackers. And it's a tough decision to make because Tyreek's one of the best receivers in the NFL, if not the best. But it's interesting how it pans out when it comes to, okay, something has to sacrifice. You see these guys in the league, these teams in the league that are paying people big money, and now it's handicapping the team. So, yeah, it's a whole nother side of it. A lot of interesting things to talk about. Guys, the original Fudge Kitchen, fudgekitchens.com. Shipping fudge and sweet treats across the country. Check them out. It's the best. It is the best. Sweet, creamy, light, delicious fudge. Valentine's Day. It came up quick, folks. We told you about it. I was talking about it last month. It's here today. Never too late. If you forgot to get a gift, or maybe it wasn't enough, or whatever it is, saltwater taffy, fudge, the sweet treats, all of the just goodness. All of goodness. They ship across the country, or if you're going down to the shore this weekend, 6 locations, all the way from Ocean City, all the way down to Cape May, open year round. Not a Shooby, Jack. This isn't Shooby Mick. It goes down in, Memorial Day to Labor Day. Original Fudge Kitchen's open. Killing it. Absolutely killing it. Jack, what commercial stuck out to you? I think the Tubi one obviously was the best.
Yeah, the Tubi one is kind of the one that everybody freaked out about. The one that stuck with me, I didn't like it. It freaked me out. It was another Tubi one. It was the rabbit one where they were just like picking up everybody and throwing them in the rabbit. I didn't like that. That freaks me out. I don't know. It was just a weird one. But I mean, I think all of the Tubi ones were kind of the ones that stood out the most to me. I'm trying to think what other ones were really popular. With the Pepsi one with what's his face? I forget. I mean, Ben Stiller and then the other one, Steve Martin. That was those were funny ones. Those are pretty much the ones that stood out to me. I didn't really catch many of the commercial. I'm not a Super Bowl commercial like person. Like it was different when like you were growing up and like that when you only saw it on TV, that was the only time you saw it. Like nowadays, it's just like they're all on YouTube afterwards. You can just see them afterwards. You can look up the funny ones, the ones everybody's talking about. I feel like they're popular ever, but I don't feel like they have as much of an effect as they did before when that was like the only time you saw them.
Yeah, it's a great point. That's a lot of the. I mean, that's a lot of how the world has changed, right? Like, why would I go back and watch SportsCenter? Even though it's a great show, right? SVP, the best, like. But I think you have to be more loose and fun, like SVP, for people to watch and have a personality, that, because I can never watch it on my phone. I just go on Instagram. I can watch every highlight in a second. I'm done, and move on. The top 10 plays, like House of Highlights, they have that. So, it's very unique. It's a very unique situation. Someone's like, hey, you think the $7 million for the 30 seconds is worth it? I said, absolutely. Absolutely. If you're a big company and you hit it, Tubi, how many people are talking about Tubi today, yesterday, Sunday? I mean, everybody, probably millions of people, $1 per person, probably 7 million people, more than that. All the people driving in their cars, every local sports talk radio show, every podcast, everybody's trying to clip and talk about Tubi. I was in Tattoos and Scars and watched the game there, and Shots and Giggles went back and forth. They're right next to each other. And the Tubi commercial came on, and I kind of knew, I didn't know it. I'm not saying like I knew that was coming, but I saw it happen. I'm like, oh, this is just a joke. Cause we were like in this bar with like 10 TVs, right? So they're not changing all at once. They have great TVs in there. And you could just see like they started doing it. I just like looked down the bar just to see people's reaction. Everyone's like, whoa, yay, hey, like screaming at the bartenders, like, don't change the channel. Like they don't have a remote. They don't have a controller, and they're just like serving drinks and they're running around. So it was hysterical. So props to Tubi. They won it for me. I mean, it's all over. I barely even watched commercials, and it stuck out. So they absolutely killed it. Guys, going to a game. Football season's over. Ugh, stinks. Now Jackie's going to be, what are you going to do, Jack, for the next 6 months? So we're going to talk about that in a second, Jack. Guys, going to a game, though. MLB is coming, pitchers and catchers, and then you got, can't beat NHL playoffs, NBA playoffs, snooze fest. Still 2 rounds are left. But all those games, check them out, guys. Go to SeatGeek, promo code Colin Thompson, COLINTHOMPSON, $20 off your ticket, $50 or more. Check it out, Colin Thompson, promo code for $20 off. SeatGeek tickets. Okay, Jackie. We talked about the 4 references a little bit, but it's the matchups. The matchups. Brought to you by our friends over at Actions Over Words, actionsoverwordsapparel.com. The matchup of the week for me this week, and it's going to be now for the next 6 months without football, Jackie boy, is what our football fans are going to watch. The matchup is, how are they going to handle not having football? Because it's a currency, it's a language for us in this country, college, high school, NFL. I think the perfect remedy, though, again, from someone who's a football lifer, my matchup that's perfect are 2 things: the XFL and the Premier League. 2 different things, 2 completely different atmospheres, 2 completely different leagues, 2 completely different budgets, whole different thing. But the XFL, I played in it, was fantastic. It would have made it every single year. It would have probably started making money year 2 and year 3, year 4. It was fantastic. They're going with a different practice, if you will, this year. Before, we were all spread out throughout the country. Training camp in one location, spread out everywhere. Now they're all locally in Dallas, in Fort Worth, and the teams fly and go play in each city every weekend. So it's a really cool environment. It's like a big hub. It's really good for cutting players, keeping players. Families can all move to one area. There's a whole nucleus, a whole village there, which I think is really cool and a really strong, great idea for sustainability. Of course, you want to be scattered throughout the whole country, but is it sustainable financially? I don't know. But they're smart enough. The Rock, their team with Mrs. Garcia there, they have a great team, obviously. So they're going to do the right thing. So to me, the 2 things you need to watch: the XFL, it's going to be fantastic. It was great when we played in it. It was fun when we played in it. There's been NFL players that have been playing out of that league for a really long time. Parham with the Chargers, PJ Walker, the list goes on and on. Kenny Robinson, a lot of really good players that have played in the league. Practice squads, active rosters, starting quarterbacks. Taylor Heineke was a backup there. So there's going to be some good players in the league, folks, and it's a really, really good league. And then the Premier League. Listen, I get it. I want the Spurs hat on. I'm a football guy. I'm a hockey guy. Everyone, soccer players rolling around on the ground. The game's too slow. Pick a team, and if you're able to gamble, put $5 to $10 on your team every week. Get you a hat. Pick a player or two you like. Maybe they're an American. Maybe they're from wherever you're from, Italy, Germany, whatever you may be. And dive into it. Because my wife and I have had so much fun watching it with our group of friends. We're going over in March to watch a game. That's the commitment we've made after just being a fan for 2 years. It is really cool. It is really fun. It is always on. It's on in the mornings, on Saturdays, on Sundays. It's really enjoyable. Everybody scoffs and laughs and says soccer. Well, listen, it's the number one league in the world. That the NFL, above the NBA, above MLB. So there's a reason why it is what it is. You have to learn how to watch it. When the announcers get loud, turn your head to the TV. It's a great for our world today with the cell phone world. It's perfect. You can scroll on your phone. You can mess around, sip your coffee in the morning, and then look up when the announcers get loud or when it's a corner kick. So that's kind of my take of the two things that are going to fill the gap. What's going to fill the gap for you, Jackie?
Basketball. I think this is a running joke between you and I. I mean, some points I can't tell if it's genuine, and some points I can't tell if you mocking me when there's something big that happens in the NBA. So obviously the
All
NBA
these trades, I'm mocking you for, because these trades are like this every year, and it's like, oh, okay, we're gonna put Kyrie, LeBron, Luca, who else? I can't even name guys in the league anymore. We're going to pull Allen Iverson out of retirement, and we're going to see if Shaq still got it. We're going to put him out there for a 5 and see if they can handle the Knicks in a best-of-7 series. I don't know, Jack. I just miss the physics. I think that we were talking about this last night at Shots and Giggles with my father-in-law and his best friend. There's just no physicality. Guys are just running rampant. There's no defense. It's not because they don't want to play or they're lazy. I don't believe that. Because it's a long season, I get all that. But you can't foul. You can't touch a guy. You can't be physical. So the game is now spread out. The game's now a one-on-one game because why wouldn't it be? You're going to go to the line and get fouled. I would go one-on-one every time because my ball handler is probably better than your defender because the defender can't touch you. So you can go right to the rim. You're going to dunk it and they don't want to foul you. They pull their hands off and you get a wide open dunk. Or somebody plays help side defense, they kick it for 3 and it's in every time because they're so freaking good. I respect the guys. I do. I just think they need to allow a little bit more physicality in the game. I'm not saying football and all that. I'm not saying it needs to be like the 90s where they're like decapitating people going to the hole. I'm just saying like they need to uptick it a little bit more. And that's why I think the playoffs are a little bit better. You're going to see some refs swallow the whistles a little bit. It's going to be better games. They're going to be like, wow, they're playing defense finally. Well, yeah, no crap. The players are playing defense finally. Because if you play defense normally before and use your hands and your body, they're going to call you. Some guy's going to go to the line like James Harden does famously, and he's going to go 14 for 14, and he's going to have 5 layups, and all of a sudden he has 30-something points. So that's why I get sick of the league, Jack, because you can't – it's not basketball anymore. And I don't know. I'm a fan. I mean, I'm a Sixers fan. I'm on a game. But it's just over the last couple of years, it's just, I don't know, man. I don't know.
My one point is you talk about the trades. You say it happens every year. Couldn't you say the very same thing for the Premier League, though, in terms of big
different.
players?
Transfer window. They're two different things. Again, I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I'm just saying, from my understanding with the Premier League, but they're pulling from leagues across the world. It's different than like an inter-league movement. It'd be like someone getting somebody out of trading for a player who plays in the Italian professional league and then going to get a guy from Brazil to play in the NBA, like out of nowhere, middle of the season. They have a transfer window in the middle of the season in January, which is pretty cool. It's like, imagine like free agency happening halfway through the year. You'd be like, what is going on? It's just different. I'm not opposed to trade. I think it's awesome. Big movement, big players on the move. Like, I think it's cool. Don't get me wrong. I just think the product is just, it's the guys are too good offensively. They should be. They're professional basketball players. Like, they should be sick. They are sick and they're huge, but you can't touch anybody. Can't. They're on the line and it's boring and it's slow. So that's why I like the Sixers when they had Ben Simmons when he was good. That team moved the ball, ran up and down the floor, dunking on people. he was limited. Sure, I get it, but like I really enjoyed the Ben Simmons era in Philly. I did. Of course, the playoffs a couple times it was like, oh man, they're really exposing him. But like it was run and gun to like everybody was like slashing the passing, like it was like awesome to watch. I really enjoyed it, and I just don't find that in the NBA anymore. I just don't.
Yeah. I mean, I get it. I mean, but everybody, like I said, everybody looks for the playoffs. I think my thing is like everybody's sort of solidified on the who's who and who's not at this point. I mean, everybody's kind of just waiting for the playoffs. So I get your point that regular season, but playoff basketball, very few things beat NBA playoffs, in my opinion. One of which is the Super Bowl, the NFL playoffs, just NFL in general. Football,
NFL playoffs destroy it. NHL playoffs destroy it. It's not even close. Those two are way better.
Okay, so a few things. That's two things. Two things that go. That's why I said very few things.
I'll say this: you can make the argument that that baseball playoffs are better. It's incredible. The one-game wild card game is sick. The first round of the NBA playoffs is a snooze fest. Everybody gets swept. It's tough, Jack. They're fourth, buddy.
We'll just agree to disagree.
So you're saying the NBA playoffs are better than the World Series? That chaos that just happened in Philly.
It's hard for me because I am not people love baseball. I have tried so hard, I just don't get into baseball. So it's weird for me. I just don't enjoy it. Like I'm just not a baseball person. Like I can't sit down and like, okay, World Series because the Phillies are in it. I can sit and watch that, but like I couldn't really even sit down for like the NLD. Like I don't get into it. It's a lot of people's thing, and I get that. I'm not saying it's a bad sport. It's just different because my personal opinion. I'm not a baseball person.
No. I'm just getting on you. I don't know, man. I'm bummed. I'm coming from you as a bummed former NBA fan. I loved it. The process and all that. Like I thought it was great. Like I was all in. I was all in and ready to go. And then like 2 years ago, I was like a year ago, I'm like, this stinks. This is just boring. I'm done watching it. So there's a lot to watch. We went off on the rails there, which is good. That's why we don't like doing any prep for the show, because I feel like you don't sometimes get that organic back and forth. And it was really fun. So I just, XFL Premier League, Jackie's going NBA because, hey, why not? I think it's going to be great. I think the NHL down the stretch gets really good too. There's more scorers. There's more players. They still can be physical. Not as much as to my liking, but there's still a physicality. Again, I'm not even like the hardo, like wants the physicality because it's got to be tough and you got to be like the 80s. Like I'm just saying, I think it's a part of the game where there's an intimidation side and there's a side where you're knocking players off of a bucket in basketball. And hey, you know what? It may not get fat, may not get called because you went up, you put your chest into them and not your hands. Or hockey, like, did he grab him, or did he really just kind of knock him off his pattern and he wasn't able to get the shot off? So I digress. Again, thank you to our sponsors, the Original Fudge Kitchen, shipping fudge and sweet treats across the country. Shout out to Shots and Giggles, the best bar in Key West, Florida, the locals bar in Key West, Florida. You can't beat it. And then shout out to the bar of the week this week, Jack, on the Colin Thompson Show, brought to you by the Original Fudge Kitchen. Tattoos and Scars in Key West, Florida. This place is awesome. It's right next to Shots and Giggles, one of our sponsors here at the show. And it's really cool. It's got a great vibe. Obviously, the name's a little edgier, and it's a little edgier inside, just kind of the lighting and the fun and the pictures. But it's an awesome, welcoming, warm place, in my opinion. Got the pool table on the other end, the great bar, the rockin' music. It's great. And what they did the other day with Casey and the team over there at Tats for this chili cook-off, raising money for the local fire department down here in Key West, was something else. 16 people applied for this chili cook-off, and we all thought it was their 10th, 15 year doing this chili cook-off on Super Bowl Sunday afternoon. It's our first year. It was first class. They raised a bunch of money for the firefighters. People were able to make a People's Choice Award for their favorite chili. People were they had all these judges. It was just first class and done unbelievably done. So had to make Tats and Scars the bar of the week this week. So again, the beer, 4 out of 5, awesome. Food and ambiance, no food, but really cool place and in a great area. 4 out of 5. TVs, 5 out of 5. That we watched Super Bowl there and Shots and Giggles, and they have great TVs all over. Volume was cranked up for the game. Absolutely loved it. And the service is 5 out of 5. So 18 out of 20 for Tattoos and Scars on the Colin Thompson show this week. I love it there. Great place, great location, and had a lot of fun in there over the years. And they have a great staff, and it's worth your while coming down to Key West and checking it out. So that's the bar of the week this week. What else we got, Jack, before we wrap up here? I think we sent a couple things to the group text here. Talked about the commercial. Oh, the Kevin Burkhardt situation. I thought that was really cool. I shared that, I think. Yeah, I shared that. Kevin Burkhardt has an incredible story. This is from Joe Papliano on Twitter. At 30 years old, he made $18,000 a year calling high school football games and worked at a car dealership on the side to pay his mortgage. But fast forward 18 years, Burkhardt has a long-term deal with Fox, and we call him tonight's Super Bowl. Thought that was really cool. He's a Philly guy, and just a really warm story because that's what it's all about. 30 years old, everybody in the world today, especially, I got to be making X and Y, and I can't live with my parents, and I got to go out, and I got to live and where all my friends live in college, and you're just wasting rent or whatever it may be. And like, instead of making a long-term play, I just have a lot of respect for it because I've done it. We've all done it, some sort of way, but 18,000 a year, that's tough to make it. You can't pay rent on that. So just really unique and impressive. And I thought that was a cool story. I thought him and Greg did a great job calling the game. Jack, what did you think?
I thought it was a tremendous game. I mean, they've killed it all season. Greg Olson's just tremendous. It's a shame he'll be in about, I think he still has a year, but it'll be a shame that he'll be down on the B team because he is just truly like best.
Will he be down on the B team though?
I think it's been confirmed.
Or there'll be 2 A teams.
Well, I mean, they said, I don't know if it's really been confirmed yet, but I think they're kind of just going to make, obviously Brady will be the number one, but I mean, I don't know what Greg Olson's contract is. I wouldn't be shocked if he tries to go to like CBS or something to be their one guy. Like
Romo's going to be out.
What's that?
Romo will be gone. Maybe he could replace Collinsworth.
Maybe. I mean, it's like a Joe Montana, Steve Young type situation here. Like it's just two great guys that would dominate, but they're just stacked on top of each other. Like it's just a tough one.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out. I think if you're Fox, you just try to keep them both because why wouldn't you? Why you have to at this point, in my opinion. And they're that big. If you can pair them with the right guy, like Burkhardt is great with Greg, I'd keep them, and then I'd find somebody for Brady. If not, they have it. I don't know. I'm not saying they may have it right there, but yeah, I would try to. You want to line up. Fox is really taking off with FS1 and all their shows there. I mean, I watch a lot of it. I really do. I listen to a lot of it more than I do with other shows, other channels. It's just more intriguing to me sometimes. What about you, Jack? Are you like dialed into one station or are you watching different shows? How you doing your business?
I'm not really dialed into one place, but back with the Fox, I think this is interesting. I don't know if this has really been talked about before. I wouldn't be shocked if they try to do some sort of Manning cast at some point with Brady and Gronk. I mean, it's a lot different situation where ESPN has multiple channels. Fox really doesn't have multiple channels, and they'll want Brady on the top broadcast. But I feel like that's something they could do there. I mean, I don't know if there's a situation
Fox
where really
does.
see fit.
It's a good point. It's a really good point. Fox does. They could put them on FS1 for the games.
Okay.
FS2, FS1, you could do that. I think the Manning cast worked till it's the Mannings. They're like America's guest. Everybody knows them. Either you love them, you hate them. Most people don't hate them. Like there's no like rivalry there. I think like Patriot fans, like, yeah, do they hate Peyton Manning? Well, I don't know. The Patriots won a lot. So it's like, okay. And then like Eli, they were like 9-7 and he won back, or we won every other year. He was 2 out of 3 years, 2 out of 4 years. They won, he won Super Bowl MVP. But like Eagles fans, like, don't really hate Eli, so like they kind of have that charm. They're like America's quarterback. So I don't know. I think it's good. I think it's hard to replicate. It's hard to replicate what they got because a lot of people really like them in different unique ways, and they'll watch that over like a broadcast. So yeah, maybe you could. I think it's a great point. I mean, they have a lot of camaraderie, a lot of time spent together. Brady and Gronk. That's a good idea, Jack. We got to mull it over. Maybe you can hire you at Fox to coordinate that piece. I mean, for Brady, though, like that's the key with Fox, right? Like they don't care. I'm guessing. They're like, let's just get this guy in, right? Like get him in the building. Figure it out from there. What do you want to do, Tom? How much time you have? Like whatever you're like, because he's that big, right? He's up there with the Brady. He's their brand combined to some extent. the Brady's. So, I mean, the Mannings, excuse me. So I think that's a good point. Now I'm mulling it over. Yeah, I think you could do it for sure. I think they'd have great stories. You have guys like Amendola and Edelman and Willie McGinnis, Teddy Bruschi, and all the old Patriots. I mean, they became America's team there for a while. So Randy Moss, I think you could really roll some people through there and have some great guests. Have a former Patriot on during every single game per quarter. Have 4 guests on like Brady that like the Mannings have. Oh, it's good points, Jack. I mean, you're on the ball per usual. Other than your NBA stuff, I just don't understand that. I never will. 4-3, wide open for the 50th time that night, and the record's broken, folks. 25 threes in one game for Klay Thompson. Hey, love Klay, baller, big time baller. I was dying for him to get to Philly a couple years ago when he was a free agent. I'm like, get this guy here, whatever you can. But why would Golden State let him leave? Oh, everything's excellent, Jack. Anything before we wrap up, buddy?
I feel like we've kind of covered everything. It's a very, I mean, I feel like the days following the Super Bowl are usually like the most quiet in sports. Everybody's sort of just reeling from it before everything else starts to really ramp up. Daytona 500s next weekend. I've figured that out from the broadcast. I don't know really anything about NASCAR, but.
Well, I'll say this too about NASCAR, folks. If you have an opportunity to go to the race, go. It's unbelievable. I'm not a NASCAR fan growing up. We watched Jeff Gordon. I thought that was cool. I remember, I get it. It's a lot of left turns. We're gonna have some NASCAR drivers on here this year. I've become friends with some of them living in Lake Norman, Charlotte area. Great guys. I believe great athletes. What they have to do for 5 hours once a week is, I mean, brutal. They get beat up. I mean, they're going 200 miles an hour for 6 hours, whatever it is, 5 hours. It's some serious. It doesn't look that like TV doesn't do it justice. Go to a race. Your heart is going to be like in your throat, the whole deal. It's incredible. It moves you back off the track, how loud the cars go, how fast the cars are, and then you appreciate it, I think, a little bit more. We went to the Coca-Cola 500. We were inside like pit crew area, like incredible experience, incredible. But again, I was very fortunate. We had that through the team with Carolina. But if you can get something like that, go do it, because you're gonna be like, oh wow, I get this. I understand what this is all about. So yeah, it's gonna be fun. I think I remember, we always wake up in April, May, and you're like, okay, this is like the best time of year for me, because I can enjoy it a little bit more. I'm not playing. It's kind of in the heart of my training, OTAs, and then you get to really sit back and watch, NBA playoffs, NHL playoffs, the Masters, NFL free agencies, rocking and rolling right in the heart of it there. So that's a fun time of the year too. I say it every year, and I'm always like having Harry Mays on about the Masters. And what do you think, Harry? So no, we're going to be rocking and rolling. We're having lacrosse players on. We're having one of my favorite chiropractors in the world. He's coming on. So we're going to be pumping out more and more content. Just keep an eye on us. I appreciate everybody following us and supporting us and rating us and doing all what you guys do, because we are constantly trying to evolve, add new people, take care of our own, because we have a great staff. So anything else, Jackie?
I think we've covered everything. It's a big episode today.
It was, man. You and I just chopping up for old time's sakes. 40 minutes of fun in the sun for me. It's actually nice up at home. I'm excited to get back to Annapolis. The weather's pretty solid. So I'll be back down here in about a week or so I'm okay. But if I wasn't coming back, I would be having some major anxiety right now. This is an awesome place down here. People are great. The camp was awesome down there. We didn't even talk about that. We should get into that next week. I'll talk about the camp. So I'm Colin Thompson. That's Jack Connell. Thank you to all our sponsors: Fudge Kitchen, Shots and Giggles, Actions Over Words, GEEK, our friends over at Som Sleep, best sleep product in the world. Promo code Colin, COLIN. Thanks everyone for showing me, my family love and support at the camp a couple weeks ago. Colin Thompson Family Football Camp, or Thompson Family Football Camp, and then all the locals that taking care of us down here on vacation. So I'm Colin Thompson. That's Jack Connell. We'll see you next week with a different type of episode. We're out.